Hey, Battle Built here with another video, and today we're getting some Ultra League Go Battle League battles. You heard that right. It's the end of the season, all three leagues are back. I mostly gave you Great League, but yes, I gave you Masters, so I'm like, you know what? Let's throw in a little bit of Ultra. I got a nice shoutcast submission for you guys. And you know, Season 4, by the time you get this video, is starting tomorrow, and after Great League, after a couple weeks of that, we'll be back into the Ultra League portion of the season. So, might as well try and prep as much as possible, even if it's right now, 2 weeks ahead of time. Doesn't hurt. I got a nice little submission that consists of a Zangoose closer, and the team has Swampert as the lead and the Alolan Muck safe swap. So I'm excited to check these battles out. You don't see Zangoose too often. I know Caleb Peng made it pretty popular, but outside of that, it's not really a pick you're seeing too often. So if you're excited for these battles, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's check out this set. These are some rank 9 level battles, and I'm curious to see how my friend uses this team and to observe its ins and outs and how well Zangoose can perform in Ultra League, especially because this is open Ultra League and he's running a non-legendary team. Swampert, Alolan Muck, Zangoose. And this is not Ultra Premier, so I'm definitely excited to watch how this plays out. So, my friend's building up all the way for the Earthquake here, trying to bait the Hydro Cannon. Definitely the right play to call here, building up for the Earthquake. But a Lapras can tank it, so this most likely won't get a shield, unfortunately. And then a slight mistake here was my friend going for the Hydro Cannon right away. Swampert can tank Lapras's charge moves, so you should have just committed to building all the way up to the Earthquake to try and threaten the shield, or maybe just throw the Earthquake so you could do a solid chunk to the opponent's Lapras. The Lapras is throwing a charge move. This ends up being an Ice Beam. He decides to shield. Good call on that. And is still just going straight for Hydro Cannons. One thing I'm just going to repeat myself and recommend is that you try to land the Earthquake in that Lapras matchup. Now safe swapping into a Alolan Muck. The opponent's going for another charge move. Is already at a shield disadvantage. Definitely doesn't want to use another shield here. Ice Beam gets through. Does about half of Alolan Muck's health. And his opponent decides to swap in Togekiss to counter the Alolan Muck. He's going straight for a Sludge Wave here. Gets his opponent's first shield. And now the question becomes, can he get to another Sludge Wave to... I don't think it takes out the Togekiss, but it would do a solid amount of damage to his opponent's Togekiss, or get the last shield of his opponent. So let's see what ends up happening. Gets his opponent's last shield, and is now going to get charmed down. So not really in the worst situation, because at least he has shield advantage here. Can bring in the Swampert safely because of the fact that most Togekisses are running Ancient Power and Flamethrower. Both Swampert would resist. Ancient Power comes through, does a little bit of damage, over farms a bit, gonna go for this Hydro Cannon. This should put the Togekiss at around a third of its health, and let's see how they decide to play this out after. Could go for another Hydro Cannon. The opponent decides to swap. He brings in his Zangoose, and what I would recommend here is just completely Shadow Clawing and farming down the Lapras. Even with this charge move going through, you have the shield, whether it's a Surf or an Ice Beam. Definitely safe to use the shield there, because now this Zangoose is super loaded. Now, the Togekiss could come back out, but considering how low it was, a couple Night Slashes would stress it out. But I do think the Togekiss should have came back in, and the Giratina should not have come in. So I think that was a mistake on his opponent, because the Togekiss could have absorbed these Night Slashes, which are dealing super effective damage to the Giratina Altered, and already has it in the yellow, actually in the red. And now the Giratina Altered is going for another charge move. It's most likely a Dragon Claw. Definitely won't threaten the Zangoose much, and should be able to get to another foul play here, which will take out the Giratina Altered. So the play to bring in Giratina was not exactly the correct one by the opponent, and was able to make quick work of the Giratina Altered with his Zangoose. Swaps into the Swampert, gets the Hydro Cannon. This will take out Togekiss's remaining health, and this will win him the match here. So, solid plays after that Swampert-Lapras matchup to pull off the win. Getting into the second match of the set, let's see what these leads are going to be. Got a Swampert on an Articuno. So now, this is also not a very positive lead for my friend's Swampert here. He's going to have to just want to spam as many Hydro Cannons as possible. You definitely don't want to overfarm too much. You want to throw him right away, because you don't want the Articuno to get the Icy Wind off. Even though it doesn't do a ton of damage, it will lower the Swampert's attack, and then those Hydro Cannons will do less and less damage. So, for Articuno shielded the first Hydro Cannon, this will most likely be an Icy Wind, so no reason to shield. Icy Wind comes through. He decides to swap to completely clear that debuff and goes into a Alolan Muck. almost was able to get the Dark Pulse off before the Articuno could get off another Icy Wind. Not going to shield this one either. The question is, does the Articuno stay in or get swapped out? It gets swapped out. So now in this situation, because the Alolan Muck is debuffed, I would recommend going for the Sludge Wave just like my friend is going for here. It is higher DPE than Dark Pulse, and also with the debuff, you just want to get off as much damage as you possibly can. So now going for a Dark Pulse, maybe thinking if he went for the Sludge Wave here, that the Lapras might shield it, so definitely want to get the damage off. Gets it through, gets the Lapras into the yellow. But honestly, in that situation, probably still should at least build up to the Sludge Wave, even if he wasn't going to go for the Dark Pulse. But also could have been worried about a Surf coming through before he got the Charge move off, but instead that was a Skull Bash, and now the Lapras' defense is very high. Luckily has two Hydro Cannons here. The first one won't take out the Lapras, but both of them combined should, even with the higher defense. So the first one got through. Unfortunately, the opponent's Lapras got to another Charge move here. This is definitely a Surf. Ends up shielding it. The Swampert would have survived it, and honestly, I probably wouldn't have shielded it, but is over farming a lot, so will make that shield worth its while because this Hydro Cannon will take out the Lapras, and he will be able to get off another Hydro Cannon, but unfortunately it's up against a Giratina Altered, which will, which will resist this Hydro Cannon. Swaps into the Zangoose here, and I forgot what the opponent's other Pokemon was that we already saw. Oh, it was an Articuno. So now the question is, can Zangoose do enough damage to handle his opponent's back line? Articuno has no energy, so should be able to get off both of these Night Slashes without getting debuffed. But the issue is it definitely would have helped to have that second shield from before, especially if the Zangoose could have came in and farmed down that Lapras since it was such low health. Even if it would have cost the Zangoose a shield in that situation, could have at least farmed it down to have extra energy for here. Through the close combat, which I guess, since he probably didn't feel like he was really going to win, seemed like his best play there, but that Swampert does not have enough health, and this Swampert got a little bit of health. I don't think it's going to be enough to deal with the Giratina Altered in the back. There wasn't a lot of play here, honestly. The team was countered pretty hard by some legendaries, so even though there were some slight misplays, overall I don't think there was too much of a chance. He's trying to commit to a mud shot down, but with a lowered attack, just going to get ice sharded down by the Articuno. We'll get this Hydro Cannon through, which will take out the Articuno, but the Giratina Alter will come in, and it's got way too much health. Even an Earthquake wouldn't have taken it out there. Getting into the third match of the set. Hopefully, my friend here could win a lead. Gets a positive lead here, has Swampert on Melmetal. Definitely need to watch out for the Melmetal building up to one superpower and dipping, but the opponent decides to immediately safe swap into their Granbull, which is an interesting safe swap in Ultra League considering Registeel could easily be in the back. But regardless, he does not have a Registeel, goes into the Alolan Muck, is baiting with the Dark Pulse here, gets a shield, which is a positive, which is pretty huge, but unfortunately, even though he'll be able to get off another Sludge Wave, the opponent most likely will shield and give up both shields just to get switch advantage. So Sludge Wave goes off. The opponent does not shield. Oh my lord. That was quite the play there. Pulled it off though and was able to essentially keep switch and keep shield advantage, which is important because if he loses shield advantage or loses switch advantage, that Venusaur would have been lined up with the Swampert, and the Melmetal would have been lined up with the Zangoose, and probably would have been game over even with the 2 shield to no shield advantage. Man, it would have been close. It would have been close. But either way, Melmetal gets swapped back in. He goes into his Swampert and is building all the way up for the Earthquake. Honestly, could just spam the Hydro Cannons, but it doesn't hurt to at least threaten the Earthquake to try and force a shield. First charge move comes through. It's a superpower. Only does about a third of Swampert's health, and now the Melmetal is debuffed, which means the following superpowers that come through are going to do even less damage. Goes right for the Hydro Cannon, and honestly, at this point, probably can just mud shot it down. This should also be another superpower coming through. Is another superpower, and the next one probably won't even take out the Swampert. So yeah, what he's currently doing is something I would have done too, and I wouldn't use a shield, so I really hope he doesn't use a shield here. This superpower shouldn't take out the Swampert. It does not, and honestly it's unfortunate that he has all his energy, at least can throw the Earthquake, but it sucks that there's a Venusaur in the back and like one Vine Whip is going to finish off the Swampert here. But still a really good play. Got the Venusaur shield. Should have known, it was a little close. I was going to say, probably should have realized that they weren't going to get to the Hydro Cannon to just immediately swap to not give the Venusaur any energy, but this still works out just fine. Should be able to spam enough Night Slashes on top of the fact that he has a shield advantage to pull out this match. And I do respect, the opponent for using the Shadow Venusaur. That's definitely a pick. Definitely something that I wouldn't mind trying next season in Ultra League, and Zangoose just wipes the floor with that Venusaur. Alright, so currently 2-1 in the set with that Zangoose in the back. It's just so spammy with the Shadow Claw quick move and then Night Slash charge move on top of the fact that it has a heavy hitting close combat. So getting into the fourth match, another positive lead with Swampert on Melmetal. What I'm expecting here from the opponent is exactly what they're going to do. Throw the superpower and then dip with the Melmetal. Honestly, what you could try to do, and my friend here is expecting to swap, really smart of them, they swap into a Milotic. That is quite a play. Honestly, I wouldn't have known what the better counter to this Milotic would have been between Alolan Muck and Zangoose. They're both going to take neutral damage, so I guess go with the little bit bulkier one in Alolan Muck. And I mean, they're both just as spammy, and just needs to really go straight Dark Pulse, unless the opponent decides to go for a shield built up for the Sludge Wave. Again, Sludge Wave, better DPE. I'm like 99.9% sure of that. I've been saying that quite a bit. But either way, if somebody wants to check me, let me know. And just don't call me stupid in the comment section. Please. I'm just kidding, I don't care. But anyhow, I'm sorry, at this point of the match, I'm just going to be spamming moves back and forth. There's not too much to talk about other than maybe trying to get the Sludge Wave off, but that Milotic's health was low, so the Dark Pulse clearly threatened the shield. Is getting Waterfalled at, gonna get another Dark Pulse off before the Milotic is going to get the Surf off, and I guess it's good for me to learn, because I haven't seen this matchup in Ultra League, that Alolan Muck could have won this switch. Could have won this switch in the even shielding, but the Milotic had to commit that second shield to essentially win it. And now it's loaded because it committed to that complete waterfall down of the Alolan Muck. So now you have to be worried about a potential big move, which would either be Blizzard or Hyper Beam, but ends up just going for the Surf. I'm surprised another Surf hasn't gone through. Getting a little bit of lag, trying to commit to a Shadow Claw down. I swear this Milotic has a bunch of energy. So I feel like this is going to be a really big move, and it's not. How is that just a Surf? I'm quite surprised. But either way, that Surf did a lot to the Zangoose, and is in a very unfortunate situation, because both of Zangoose's charge moves are not going to do a lot to Togekiss, and losing switch advantage here was pretty big. But the Swampert, actually, no, it wasn't that big, because the Melmetal couldn't come in against either of these Pokemon, and now the Swampert can, yeah, exactly, yeah, do that. Is in, I'm sorry, I'm not commentating well, but essentially the Swampert can handle both of them, and that Earthquake literally one-shot the Melmetal. The Togekiss can come back in, so switch advantage actually wasn't that important, and worked out real well because he had the shield, and the fact that he had two Pokemon that counter Melmetal. So this Hydro Cannon will take out the Togekiss, because now you can rely on Swampert to handle it, just like it did, even though Zangoose doesn't have the best matchup against Togekiss there. Also, I just checked, I was correct, Sludge Wave is more energy efficient than Dark Pulse in neutral situations, so haha, you can't call me stupid. At least about that. Anyhow, getting into the fifth and final match of this set, he's got a Swampert on Obstagoon lead here. He's currently 3-1, hoping to pull off a solid 4-1, and this one's a pretty straightforward matchup. I actually think Swampert wins this as long as Obstagoon doesn't get the boost. You do want to just go straight Hydro Cannon here, and that did a solid chunk. Hasn't gotten the shield from the Obstagoon yet. You definitely don't want to shield the first charge move coming from the Obstagoon, because it should have been a Night Slash. I don't know why that was a cross chop. Should have been a Night Slash. It gets Stab. Gives potential boost, and again, you don't want to shield it, because if it gives a boost on the first one, you'd rather shield the ones later. But either way, now my friend decides to swap into the Alolan Muck after landing another Hydro Cannon. I'm not sure why he gave up switch advantage like that. But another Cross Chop comes through. Cross Chop from Obstagoon on Alolan Muck makes sense, because the Night Slash would have been resisted. Opponent swaps into a Melmetal, and honestly, the Alolan Muck has so much energy here that it's in a pretty solid situation, because it can spam these Dark Pulses, and the Superpowers would be dealing neutral if the Melmetal decided to go for it and build up two of them. Could throw the Rock Slides, those would also be neutral and be a little bit safer to throw. Gets another Dark Pulse off, gets the opponent's first shield, and now the question is, what is his opponent going to do in this situation, and is he going to want to shield this? So he decides how to shield it, ends up being a Rock Slide. Again, the next Rock Slide would take out the Alolan Muck. Could shield it, yeah, go for the shield, get to a Dark Pulse, take out the Melmetal, and both those Rock Slides are a little bit more energy than the Superpower, so kind of works itself out that he decided to go double Rock Slide instead of like Rock Slide Superpower. Plus, again, the second charge move got the shield, so you definitely don't want to throw a Superpower and debuff yourself. Either way, gets to a Dark Pulse here, and we'll be able to throw it at the Giratina Altered. So kept switch advantage in a solid situation. Once the Alolan Muck goes down to these Dragon Breaths, can go into Zangoose and try and spam as many Night Slashes as possible. Seems like it would be the play. Goes back into Swampert, so maybe not the play. This charge was going to come through, should be another Dragon Claw. Won't take out the Swampert. Gets a Swampert into the red. Opponent swaps back into their Obstagoon, and this will take out the Swampert, and now will most likely commit to one of the most aggressive farm downs you're going to ever see, because of the fact that Zangoose is throwing Shadow Claw as a quick move, and that's triple resisted by the Obstagoon. Had to shield there because of the fact that that was a cross shot, would have done super effective damage. But at least thanks to that super aggressive farm down, has a bunch of energy to now dish at this Giratina Altered, and will be able to get to another Night Slash without having to worry about the charge move, and take out the Giratina Altered and win this match. I'm trying to think, was that the most optimal play to make there? Could have went into Zangoose there against the Giratina Altered. Shadow Clawed, Night Slashed at it. I guess maybe worried about a little bit of extra energy on the Giratina Altered. Because then like the Obstagoon comes back in, then you just swap back into Swampert. Like I would have just kept that lined up. The opponent swapped into the Obstagoon anyway. Wait, now I'm so confused on how that match ended. But either way, I do think the play should have been just go straight into Zangoose, but was able to pull it out regardless, and it worked itself out because that Obstagoon's health was so low, and those Shadow Claws farmed it down. Quite the play. So, overall, pretty solid set. Definitely some plays that I'm happy we got to see, because I think it's really important, and I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but it's really important to see certain plays being made that might not be optimal, so that either they could be critiqued or talked about and just essentially questioned to figure out what might have been better, or maybe, you know, sometimes not always optimal playing works itself out. So thank you, Mystic Raider, for submitting these sets. I know he's a good sport. He's a good friend of mine. I know he won't take any offense to my critiques. So I hope that it was beneficial for your guys watching of this video, that I was able to dive into these battles the way that I did. I think that's kind of also the approach I want to take with my own gameplay going forward, and some of my shoutcasts, because I've been kind of like teetering on how I want to go about talking about battles, whether I just want to give like a commentator's like, whoa, this play was made, or if I just want to give like a deep dive, and I've kind of just been mixing the two. I don't really want to call it a deep dive, but like a little dive into like specific plays. But I think I want to more go into the analysis. It's just a little bit harder to do because you guys like sped up battles, which I can understand. Definitely quicker and easier to digest the video as it's going on, but it makes it a little bit harder for me to talk about plays, explain plays, and what might work and what might not work. But I'm going to try and still adjust to the speed while going over certain important plays from matches of my own or matches of shoutcasts that I do, to either critique them or just say how good they were, because obviously my friend here did a great job, went 4-1 with this team and played it out really well, and I appreciate the fact that he submitted me these sets. And again, if you want me to submit it, if you want me to, I don't want to call it like me critiquing your battles, no, if you just want me to shoutcast them, and then again, I gave as much analysis as I can, the link is in my description, and by the time this video comes out, I already mentioned it earlier, tomorrow will be Season 4, so that should be exciting. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on that specific day for a video. Maybe I'll go over the updates, maybe I'll just give you another Season 3 video, because it doesn't hurt to see more battles to prepare for Season 4, but either way, let me know what you guys thought of the team, the gameplay, and just kind of how I might change the way I go about battles. Do you want more of the like analysis / critiques, or do you want me to just be like, that play happened, oh my god, that play happened, like that? I don't know. I trust your opinion. Either way, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.